The topic of my project is distributed database, and first of all, I would like to introduce the background of distributed database. Distributed database system consists of a distributed database management system and distributed database. A distributed database system, in its simplest definition, is a group of computers. They are working together, but to others they appear like a single computer. So for a specific user, they can use the distributed database just like use a single relational database. So because today we are living in the world that um, needs a larger space to store big data. So data consistent management of distributed database is one of the most important core technologies to achieve this scenario, and it also ensures that distributed database meets the consistency which guarantees in the most basic ACID characteristic of the database. So with our development of traditional technologies, data consistent solutions and technologies are constantly uh, evolving. So now I'd like to introduce the concept of development of my project. First of all, why we need a distributed database. So the distributed database overcomes the old relational database because of following characteristics. First, the distribution of data. A distributed database is different from a traditional database because it shares data to different computers, which means the data is distributed in different computers. So when you want to access a long sequence of data, you can access multiple computers in parallel, so which can increase your efficiency and reduce your cost. And the second reason is the distributed database have unity. It is mainly about two aspects. First, the, the logic unity of data and the unity of data management. The distributed database system uses the network technology to form a local, decentralized database into logical single database. So, in such case, a traditional database is a centralized queue of several in a network. So the data maybe has um, weight, which we don't want to see this situation. But for a distributed database, this is a there is a logical unity of the data, so it is different from multiple independent databases. Um, and the distributed database um, for the distributed database, the development of traditional technologies, data consistent solutions, and technologies eh, are managed and maintained by a distributed database management system. This uh, this uniformity in management makes it different from the general distributed file system. And for a distributed system management system, it has transparency. So that means when you use a distributed system, database system, users don't need to know where the data they care about is stored, just like a centralized database. So, for a user, if you want to, uh, if you use traditional database system for the for the local data, you can access it in a very quick efficiency and low cost. But if you want to access the remote data, maybe the data is stored in um, remote database, so you have to um, spend a lot of time to retrieve from this data. But for a distributed database, all data is distributed in multiple computers. But for you just like use a synchronized database. So all data you access basically from your side are equal in cost and efficiency. So all the user needs to care about is the logical structure of the entire database. So compare the centralized databases. Distributed database have the following advantages. And so this is why we need a distributed database today. And first of all, the, um, the advantages, the one of the advantages is resistance. The reliability of a distributed system is good. That is, the reliability and availability of the system is good because the distributed database system is composed of multiple computer organizations and multiple locations. It can continue to work in the event of failure of individual nodes. So basically, it means that if a massive of data is stored in a single computer, and there is if there is some failure of this single computer, the data will be lost. But for a distributed database system, a long sequence of data is stored in different computers, and we also use a technology called mirroring, which means we keep a copy of certain data. If one of the computer has some failure like software failure or hardware failure, thus the entire database system will not to be affected because we have multiple location of this sequence of data and we maintain its copy. So it costs little effort to rebuild this system. And if redundant technology is used, it can also obtain a certain degree of fault tolerance, which is similar as what I have explained. And then the distributed database system has good scalability. Nodes can be added or removed based on development needs, or the system can be reconfigured, which is much easier to replacing an existing centralized database with larger system. So for a centralized database system, the size, the storage size of the database has some limit. So for example, a database can be as larger as 1 TB. And if we want to expand the space of this database